Discotronic Remix.
Okay, so this was like about 10 days ago, and then they gave me another lucid dream with my old coach in it as well. But they used to give me these kind of dreams with her in it all the time, many years ago, because she was my coach, and she was my basketball coach and track coach, and I had her for, I think it was general math. But anyway, here's this one woman that that alien I told you about that posed as like, he was like a demon reptilian. I don't think it was Joel. He was kind of demonic, and he posed as this one chick that I was talking about in this video right here. That was in 2014, and well, he wasn't posing as her, but he put the exact replica of her in my scenario. And we were about to get it on. And here she is right here. Except in my scenario, see, this is a current video right here. She looks a little more aged here. Right there. She's aged a little bit. But in my scenario, she looked more like this. See, this is a younger picture, slightly younger picture. Because this is an older video. But yeah, that's her right there. She used to be on the David Icke forums. Well, she probably still is. I don't know. But yeah, that's the chick that I knew what she looked like because she had, you know, she always had a picture of her, and you know, she had that video that I listened to 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. That one video about the Reptilian or whatever. But yeah. My reptilians, man, they're funny. They're funny little critters. But yeah, that's her right there. That and I mean, it was exactly 100% her. I mean, exactly. Same personality, exact same personality and everything. But anyway, and there have been times, this was around 2014 too, or maybe 2015. It was like 6 mornings in a row the Reptilians kept giving me lesbian scenarios. And except this time we were making physical contact with each other those 6 times in a row. That was with a bunch of different people, but with her we never actually did really make contact. We were just, you know, like about to get it on. And then the Reptilian was like some freaking demon, man. And yeah, they're funny like that. They like to joke around, and it's like we were about to get it on, and then it's like he barged in to let me know that, basically he was giving me the experience in a real demonic voice. But yeah, they're funny, man. Just however you resonate with, that's how they're gonna act towards you. But anyway, okay, so this this lucid dream was kind of like a premonition lucid dream. Ass backwards premonition lucid dream. What do they call it? Precognitive or whatever? Because I looked her up after the first lucid dream around March 13th or March 10th, something like that. I looked her up, and I was just like shocked to know that she died, and it brought all those, like memories back from 1983 or 1985, because that's when I was in junior high school or whatever. And it's weird, like, I don't know, I have the ability to do that. Like, I could just like bam, bring all the energy forward from 1985 or whatever, and it totally, for like a day, I'll feel like I could still feel all that energy, just like yesterday, just like it was yesterday that I was in junior high school or whatever. And she was my coach, just like yesterday almost. I could bring all that energy from that era, time era or whatever. But yeah, I was just kind of shocked to know that she died or whatever. And I don't know what kind of cancer. Maybe lung cancer, I really don't know. But okay, so the first lucid dream, and like I say, many other, I remember another lucid dream from many years back too that they gave me, where I was like at her house, and that was many years ago. And but yeah, they've been giving me these lucid dreams all my life and crap. Virtual reality, lucid dreams. Okay, so anyway, so this is how it starts. And like I said, they just gave me another one a couple days ago with her in it again, which was kind of weird because I was walking around and I'm thinking, okay, I thought she was supposed to be dead. I mean, I know she's supposed to be dead. And like we were visiting her house in Oregon or whatever. Okay, well anyway, so here's the first lucid dream, which was like 10 days ago. And okay, so this is how it starts. Okay, so, and this is kind of weird too, because I actually was in, as far as I remember, I was in, oh no, that's right, because I was in the passenger seat. Yeah, no, that's right, yeah, because she was driving, yeah, because the steering wheel was on the left, right, isn't that right? Yeah, that's right, because I was thinking, British, it's the reverse, but anyway, no, that's right. So anyway, so I was in the passenger seat, she was in the driver's seat, we were driving along down the road, and this particular street, I felt like I was in my own town, and it's like we were driving to the park, me and my coach, and in this experience, she looked about like how she did when I knew her back then. So she would have been, about 40 or whatever back then. And so anyway, it's like we were going to the park and she was driving. It was daytime and it seemed to be about noontime. So anyway, so then we end up, driving. We end up going past like this neighborhood, and this neighborhood totally seemed like I was in this neighborhood just not far from me. That's what it seemed like. So basically they stuck me in this, in this town that I was familiar with. And we were going past this house, which seemed, familiar, just like in this neighborhood that's not far from me. That's what it totally seemed like, that they stuck me, that this reptilian stuck me in. And so we were going past, okay, it's like we were going to the park. And then, like, all of a sudden, we were going down the street, and she was showing me where her kids lived, like her daughter and her son. And And for some reason, we were driving past the house, and she said something like this, that we weren't going to stop, that we'll go ahead and go on to the park. And so anyway, so we were driving past the house really slow, and there was a donkey. This is the weird part. There was a donkey in the front yard, and it was on fire. This donkey was on fire. It didn't seem to be in any pain or anything like that. Like, you know, the reptilian didn't make me notice that it was in pain or anything like that. So there was a donkey in the front yard, and it was on fire. And I was like, well, don't we need to go ahead and stop, because we need to, like, help that donkey? And this is kind of weird too, because every day, you know, I see goats, but I don't see donkeys, so it's kind of funny that they would put a donkey in my scenario instead of a goat. But anyway, it was a donkey. They may have went back in my brain a couple years when my coworker was talking about donkeys. Okay, but anyway, so like, I was like, well, don't we need to go ahead and stop, because we need to help that donkey? And for whatever reason, the reptilian, you know, didn't tell me why the donkey was on fire. But anyway, so finally we did stop, and we went inside the house. Me and my coach. That's a younger picture. That's the way she looked, except a little younger, back when I knew her. That must be the way she looked as she got a little older. But, so we went inside their house, and it's like they were all getting ready for church. And it was, oh, no, let me back it up. I forgot to mention one thing. So after we started driving to the park, after we started driving down the road like we were going to the park, we did actually go to a school, and it seemed like the elementary school, though it did not seem like the junior high school that I was used to. It seemed like an elementary school. And we were going through the line to get food. And I looked down, and I saw some soup with like big, huge pieces of like tofu in it, but these pieces were like huge. You normally don't make stuff with huge tofu pieces like that. But I didn't get that soup, because it was like half a wedge of tofu. Like lots of half a wedges of tofu in the soup, and it was just like a lot of tofu. So that soup I didn't get, but I got a soup that was more like a minestrone or something like that. And I can't remember what she got. But anyway, I forgot about that part. We actually went to the elementary school. It seemed more like an elementary school than a junior high school. And we got some food, and you know, in the cafeteria. Okay, then we were going down the street, and that's when it seemed like I was in this very familiar neighborhood that's not far from me. And then, like I said, I saw the donkey in the front yard on fire. And my coach was like, well, I guess we don't really need to stop. And I'm like, yeah, we really need to stop because of that donkey on fire. So then we did pull back or whatever, and then we're like inside their house, the daughter and the son. In real life, she has one daughter and one son. The son is like a year younger than me, and the daughter is like 2 years older. And it's like they all were getting ready for church. But the funny thing is, there were like 6 or 7 young kids in the scenario, like 7, 8, 9 years old or 10 years old. But it was like 3 or 4 boys, 3 or 4 girls. And one of her granddaughters had tights on, like a nice little pretty dress and like pink tights. And I already forgotten some details because I waited too long to tell this lucid dream. But anyway, we eventually stopped, and like I say, we were inside their house, and we were all talking and blah 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 blah. And like I say, it was her daughter and son that was in the house. It's like they lived there, or maybe one of them owned the house and the other was visiting. And it was like a Sunday or something, because it was like they were about to go to church. And but the funny thing is, there were all these kids, 7, 8 kids or whatever, like 50% girls, 50% boys. And the funny thing is, I didn't know that she had that many grandchildren until later on, until I looked her up and noticed that she died. And then, so it's funny how the aliens put all those kids like as if they were her grandchildren, because I didn't know that about her, you know what I'm saying? So this is kind of like a precognitive or premonition lucid dream or whatever. Okay, so anyway, so basically that was, and I know they were like, I know I'm forgetting some parts, and it seemed like that girl was like playing with some toys or something, and I can't remember what it was. It was like, I don't know, it was like a yo-yo or something, but I've already forgotten some of the parts. Okay, so anyway, or some of the things that the girl was saying and stuff. Okay, so anyway, so after this lucid dream, the weird part was the donkey. And oh yeah, and by the way, I was walking around the house and I did look out the window and I saw the donkey laying there and he appeared to be, dead or whatever. I still don't know. I don't know why the donkey was on fire. It was like somebody in the house set it on fire, but the reptilian didn't really tell me all that. Some of these lucid dreams are kind of weird and haphazard, and they make no sense. Okay, so, but they do put a lot of fire in my scenarios. And okay, so anyway, so later on, I looked her up. I looked up my coach, but at the time, her last name was like Landers. But somehow, I still was able to pull some information up. So this is what I got. And anyway, so it was just kind of weird. It just like brought back all the energy from that time era into my reality for like about a day. So anyway, she died at 60, well, whatever she was in 2013, she died at like 66, I believe. '63, because she would have been, or 65. She died at either 65 or 66 in 2013, because my mom would be 63 in 2013. Yeah, 63. So she died at either 65 or 66 years old. So she wasn't that old, but at the time she was living in Oregon. She lived in my town for many, many, many years. And then she had, I knew she was from Texas. I always remembered that she was from Texas. I always knew that. And, but I don't know why she has about 25 different last names. And she was bisexual, basically. But, it says she was fighting a difficult battle with cancer. But I don't know, what kind of cancer. But this is the funny thing, because it says in here that the son and the daughter, it said they either lived together or they lived just right by each other in Oregon. They all moved to Oregon, 12 years ago or whatever, and they had been living in Oregon all this time. But yeah, it says something about, which is kind of funny, because before I looked her up, in my dream scenario or whatever, it's like they both were living in the house, the son and the daughter. But here's the funny thing too, because see, look at all those grandchildren that she has. And in my scenario, the alien put all these grandchildren in my scenario. And I had no idea that she had that many grandchildren. Okay, see, it says 9 grandchildren. Oh yeah, in my scenario, there were maybe not 9, but there were at least 7. There could have been 9, but I know there were at least 7 kids in my scenario. That was her grandchildren. So anyway, this is kind of like, and it's kind of like, I guess the aliens wanted me to know that she died or something, but yet they didn't actually say that or put that in my scenario. I guess they just knew that I would look her up and I'd figure it out that she died. And yeah, I mean, she always, was into health, and she was a health teacher. And she jogged, 5 miles a day. At least back then she did. So she was an outdoorsy type of person. But yeah, so she could have probably died of lung cancer from all the toxins that you breathe being outside and shit. But like I said, I don't really know. it just says cancer. But yeah, so it was just kind of weird. Okay, and then see, there's all the grandchildren, and like I say, somewhere in here it says that her son and the daughter Rebecca Landers, they actually live either with each other or by each other right there in Oregon. And I can't remember where it says it, but it says it. Because that's what it was like in my scenario. Okay, so the second lucid dream that I had just yesterday, she was in it again. You know, her, Marilyn Landers. Oh, by the way, the last time I saw her, I was about 20, oh shit, man, I was either 25 or 21. Either 21 or 25. And I saw her at the Olive Garden, so that was, you know, that was a long time ago. And so she was still living in this town then, but I didn't know she had moved to Oregon until the aliens gave me the scenario, and I looked her up and noticed that she died. Okay, so the second lucid, oh yeah, and another thing, her son at the time when I was in school, when she was my coach and everything, and my track coach, and basketball coach, the son did not live with her. The daughter did, but not the son. She acted like she didn't get along very well with the son. Maybe now she did, but back then, you know, because I know she was like divorced from that first husband or whatever. But anyway, but yeah, so they must have been tight-knit family, and then they all moved to Oregon. But I know they've been living in Oregon for quite some time, at least 10 or 15 years, something like that. Okay, so the second lucid dream, which was like, was it yesterday or the day before? Or like 2 mornings ago. Okay, so this is how it starts out. It's like me and my sister, several other people. I recognize most all of them. We were inside her house, and it was like we were visiting her house. It's like we were visiting her house in Oregon. And we were just, and it was daytime, and we were walking around. And basically we were just walking around, talking. At one point, I was sitting there drinking, like I drank a whole freaking Pepsi, and I think it was a diet Pepsi, but I can't remember. But it was pretty sweet. And then I remember thinking, okay, wait a minute, how did I just drink that Pepsi? Because I'm pretty sure it has caffeine in it. Because I can't, you know, tolerate caffeine. And, and I just remember thinking, okay, so let me go look at the bottle. And I was talking to some people. I was like, can you go give me another can so I can look at it to see if it had caffeine in it? Because I wasn't feeling any kind of reaction from it. Of course, this is under the lucid dream state. And I looked on the can, and I didn't see anywhere where it said caffeine. So apparently, you know, but it's just kind of funny. The aliens know that I can't fucking drink fucking Pepsi. It's like all fucking chemicals. They know that. So, you know, but in my scenario, I was able to fucking drink it, and I didn't have any, and even if it didn't have caffeine, I would have a reaction because it's just pure fucking sugar and chemical. Okay, so anyway, So basically we were just walking around, and the whole time I'm thinking, and I do remember my coach walking around several times, and I kept catching glimpses of her, and I kept thinking, okay, well, how are we visiting her house, you know, in Oregon, and she's sitting here walking around and stuff when she's supposed to be dead, you know? Because I already knew, even in this lucid dream, I already knew that she died. But anyway, she was alive in this lucid dream. And, but here's the funny, perverted part. Because the aliens always have to throw some perverted shit in there. And there is one particular reptilian, some of the flat-faced beings that love to give me these lucid dreams. It's not Joel giving me these lucid dreams. It's these other flat-faced beings, flat-faced reptilians that like to give me these long, drawn-out lucid dreams. Some of them are better than others. But, okay, so anyway, so, this was a funny part. So I walk into the bathroom, and here's another bathroom again. They're always sticking me in bathrooms. I walk into the bathroom, and it's a huge bathroom. And the sink is like really big. It's pretty damn wide, and it's white, like porcelain. It's pretty wide. And there was a big rack of clothing where she hung all of her shirts. Like they were all kind of like manly shirts, but they were like really big. And I'm thinking, aren't those a little too big for her? But anyway, the aliens know that lesbos, you know, they like to wear manly shirts. So he put that in my scenario. Like all this huge rack of like manly shirts like this. They were her clothes. And I was just observing them like, wow, they just look large though. You know, they looked awfully big for her. And okay, so here's the funny perverted part. So I turned around because the rack of clothing was, you know, when you walked into the door, it was on the right side against the wall. And straight ahead was the toilet and then the porcelain sink